Welcome! Today we're going to learn how to prepare our cases to reload, clean, and get them ready for the reloading process. What I have here is just a few simple things. This is the method I use. By no means is it the only method. I just proclaim to teach stuff that I know and what works for me. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. There are far better ways to clean your brass out there than this method, but this works very well for me and I've never had an issue with it yet. There are certain things we need to look for when we clean brass. First off, we need to inspect each one to make sure that it doesn't have any cracks or if it's not bent out of shape, and it just looks like it's going to be a good cartridge to reload. We don't want any splits in the case. We don't want any major dents and dings. If there's small little dings in the mouth, which is the part right here that opens up the case, we can work those out if it comes down to it. Unless they're excessive, just inspect each case and make sure it's good to go. We don't want anything to have a bad failure rate on the range because we have a bad case, which is not a good thing. What I've got here is a few simple things. I've got a small plastic bowl filled with hot water. In this hot water I also have a Simple Green, which is a very good degreasing chemical you can get at Walmart. Good thing about it is it's non-toxic. It won't hurt you. I can stick my hand in it all day long and leave it out. It smells real good too. Cleans your kitchen floors good. If you got kids, I recommend you just buy stock in the company. It works really well for about everything because kids are messy. But it works well to clean the brass out. If you notice, I've got the brass in here, and it just came from this small box of range brass that a buddy of mine shot up, and he gave me the brass so I could reload. If you go to the range and pick up brass, it's a great source of free brass out there. Just make sure you, like I said before, check it, make sure it's not got any major issues or any problems. But what we're going to do is we're going to take and we put our brass in there. This isn't scalding hot water. Sometimes I use boiling water if the brass is real funky or it's got a lot of grease or nasty stuff caked onto it. After you reload a case for a while, sometimes they tend to, or if they're subject to high pressure, they get a lot of carbon and baked on grease and junk on there. So then I'll use boiling water and let it set. Obviously this isn't boiling, or else I wouldn't be able to put my hand in there. Either that or I'm really tough or really stupid, one of the two. But the brass here, what we're going to do is just some 40 caliber brass that was been actually reloaded before. This company here, HSM, actually reloads ammunition and sells it as commercial ammunition. It's good ammunition. It's just good to reload again. What I'm going to do after I dump my brass in there and let it set, I add my Simple Green to the hot water, and I'm going to take just a handful of rounds, and I normally use two hands at this, but I'm holding one hand, has the camera here, so I'm just going to use one hand, and I'll rub the cartridges around in my hand just to get all the grit and grime and stuff. You'll notice sometimes if you pick a case off at the range, even if it's one you just reloaded and shot, sometimes there's going to be a lot of grit and just filth on there. That's just because there's dirt and dust and everything in the outdoors when in the shooting environment. So you just want to make sure that gets out there, especially when we put them in our dies. We don't want a bunch of grit and nasty stuff going up into our precision dies to reload, because then it can scratch the dies and cause some problems. But I'm going to rub these brass around for a while, usually no more than 3 or 4 minutes, just so I make sure I get everything out. After that, I take it to the sink, basically, and I just rinse them out and wash them out good. I sometimes rinse them about 3 or 4 times, make sure I get all the water out. I'll lay out a towel, a tea towel, or a bath towel, and dump the wet brass onto them, and just let them sit there for a while, probably a couple hours or a few, just to get it dried out. If I'm in a hurry and I want to get to reloading quicker, I'll just get the hair dryer or the heat gun at a good safe distance and pretty much blow dry them as much as I can. After you wash them and they get a little bit more clear, especially if they're really dirty, go ahead and take them and look at them again. Make sure they're still, it might reveal a little bit better view of cracks, hairline cracks and stuff that you might have missed before, especially if there's a lot of caked on gunk on there. So no, we can't use bubble gum and patch up the cracks. We'll just toss the brass. Like I said, if you find this out at the range and stuff, it's free. It's good stuff to go if you know what to look for. And it's a good source of cheap reloading components is brass. So That's basically the process I use. Now there's other instruments you can use for reloading. By far the most popular today is what's called a vibratory tumbler, and it's a machine that you put your brass into a big hopper on top with, and then you add some media such as ground up corn cobs or walnut or some other material like that. And when you turn the machine on, what the brass and the media does is it shakes very quickly at a very high RPM, and the friction from the case and the media comes together and they polish the case up pretty well. Is it a better method than this? It probably is to a certain degree. It gets the grime and the stuff off of it, and plus it can help get inside the cartridge. That's one thing I should mention on this. If I have a cartridge, you probably can't see, there's a lot of soap in that one. There we go. Probably can't see. These are 40 caliber brass, by the way, I should mention, for a 40 Smith & Wesson. A bunch of soap in there, but if your case on the inside has a lot of caked on gunk like powder and whatnot, there we go, got the bubble out, which this one looks pretty clean on the inside. You probably can't see on the camera. What you want to do is just take like a pipe cleaner or something, just clean on the inside. I had an individual ask me about the primer, how to clean the primer pockets, and I'll get that in the next section here after I finish up this one. But that's basically all there is to it, what I do to clean my brass and get it ready to go. The most important thing is make sure it's dry, completely dry whenever you go to reload it, so you don't mess with your powder or your primers or anything and make a dead primer or cause your powder to go out of whack. And the other thing is to make sure your brass is in safe condition. Stay tuned for a primer cleaning procedure.